Okay, Dad, so what did you want to talk about today?
Well, hi, good afternoon. Long time the podcast has been on hold,
Yeah.
but we've both been busy. Well, I was thinking about talking about the World Cup 2020, Qatar.
Yeah.
Before I go on to the soccer,
Oh, okay,
Anmol, I just want to get a couple of things about this World Cup on the record.
Yeah.
Firstly, it should never have been held in Qatar. This country has got a deplorable human rights record,
Yeah.
deplorable record for migrant workers. And even during the tournament, unfortunately, they were trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
A couple of migrant workers died during the tournament.
During
So-
the tournament.
Correct, yes. There was a couple of construction workers. Now, that is what this World Cup should be remembered for. That it was a World Cup held in a country where the human rights are not respected, gay rights are not respected, rights of migrants are not respected. That's my first point. What do you think of that?
So I'm glad you started it on this because I wanted to start it on this as well. That we can't. It's not something, and the reason why I stayed away from the soccer, I should have stayed away from it more, but I stayed away from the soccer a bit was because there's no way you can take part in something when you know so many people have suffered to make it happen,
Yeah.
and that so many people have died because they weren't given the fair human treatment they should have been given. I mean, they're construction workers. They're supposed to have rights.
Absolutely.
And yeah, okay, they're building the stadiums. That's okay. That's their job. But you're supposed to pay them a fair wage.
Yeah.
You're supposed to treat them correctly, and you're supposed to give them the breaks that they need. Because
Absolutely.
clearly, these migrant workers, if they're dying,
Yeah.
obviously it's very hot out there,
Yes, it is.
and they're not being given the protection. They're not being given breaks. They're not being looked after
Yeah.
to the extent that they are dying.
Yes, absolutely right, Anmol. I will, and I'm not sure if you want to, how much time you want to spend talking about the soccer. I mean, I really think that the focus should stay on the country that hosted this World Cup. It should not go on to, on the fact that the World Cup had some high quality games,
Yeah.
a very high quality final. Does not actually alter the fact, as you said, that Qatar is amongst the countries which has got the worst record. Worst record.
Exactly.
They do not have gay rights, as I said.
Yeah.
They've got no.
They kicked a person out of the stadium because he was wearing an LGBTQIA plus armband.
Okay, so there you go. And then the other thing that this World Cup should be remembered and highlighted for is the back down by the players, by the countries that took part in it, right? They were initially going to make some strong protests to highlight all of these things that we are just talking about.
Yeah.
And the European countries, which are, I think there were 7 countries initially, who said that they would wear armbands supporting the LGBT community or make some kind of protest. I never saw anything. They all backed down because FIFA, and that organization is a disgrace. FIFA actually said that they would yellow card and red card players or captains who actually went ahead with these protests. Well, that would have been even a better form of protest. If a captain is red carded
Yeah.
and walks off the field for nothing to do with football, no foul, he has not committed an infringement on the playing ground, he is actually being shown a red card because he is standing up for human rights and gay rights. Well, I would have liked to see that actually. That would have been great.
Yeah.
However, they all backed down. They all backed down for what? For glory. I think they got no glory out of that at all.
Yeah, their refusal to, like you said, someone could have made a stand. Someone could have taken a knee.
Yes.
They could have, worn a gay solidarity shirt. They could have done something extra. Instead, it happened from a member of the public, the crowd.
Yeah, and that one protester, I think he ran on to the field as well. I can't remember the game, but yeah. So that is actually where this World Cup should be remembered and discussed about in future.
Yeah.
Very briefly, and I want to make it just proportionately brief, and I don't know how much you want to talk about the the soccer, yes, I said before there were some high quality games.
Yeah.
The performance of the Socceroos was tremendous to reach the last 16. And finally, Messi winning the World Cup for Argentina after 36 years, because the last time they won it was 1986, when Diego Maradona was their captain and their mercurial player. Yes, that was great. Soccer was good quality, good games, but that's about all I have to say for the soccer, because I want to keep the highlight of this particular World Cup on what FIFA did and did not do, and what the players did and did not do.
And to the workers whose names may never be published, but who actually allowed the World Cup to go ahead.
Yes.
And they shouldn't have died for it.
And the World Cup, most of these migrant workers come from very, very poor third world countries, and they come there to make a living for a better life for their families back in their native countries. And obviously, that they paid the ultimate sacrifice without any compensation or without a remembrance.
And
that is why I think that is where the focus should have been and should be, not should be. That's why I think, Anmol, you and I have totally agreed that we have kept the conversation to the actual soccer to a bare minimum, but kept it on the topic that I think is more relevant. And I wish FIFA and the participants in this World Cup would have done the same. Instead, they just did some token gestures, which were very, very inadequate.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to find
They could have done so much more, and yet they've chosen to overlook, unfortunately, some of the horrific practices that occurred.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want to say anything about some of the recent cricket matches that you've seen?
Yeah, we can do another podcast on that, Anmol. I just want this particular podcast to highlight this issue.
Yeah, that's fine.
And not discuss sport. Sport is very nice, and we both love sport. But this is where the importance should have been given to these people behind the scenes, and to the deplorable record that Qatar has got in relation to human suffering in their country and inequality for women,
to raise more awareness about this issue.
More awareness. That's where I think
Exactly.
this podcast, and I do realize that it is a sporting podcast, but sometimes these kind of statements and these kind of discussions must be had. It's a pity that there was not more of this discussion.
Exactly. Well done.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Anmol.
that. Thank you.
Well done to you.